You a vlogger, facing over. You a queen, wanna less than I'm a gozy. Owamie, Owamie. Owamie, Owamie. Owamie, Owamie. Owamie, Owamie. Hey, hey, hey. Girl, you're such a powerful woman.
Hi my ninjas, how are you doing? It's your girl Owamie, aka Miss Fair Focal, bring back for our entertainment. If it's the first time you're doing me, welcome. Please do make sure that I subscribe and obviously hit the bell. I absolutely love you, and do not forget follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. It's at boldly Owamie. Now my ninjas, today we're going to talk about something that's quite sensitive. I feel like yesterday's video was very sensitive. Today's video is also one that is going to be very sensitive. So if you are a sensitive viewer, I would advise not to continue with this video, okay? Because yeah, maybe you might get pissed off based off of which church you go to, you know, and if that is the case, you know you are a sensitive person. As I said, please do make sure that you click out of this video. But anyway, one thing that is not a laughing matter whatsoever is basically the fact that you guys will remember that, if I'm not mistaken, it was last month, wherein there was a bus that was traveling from Botswana to Moria, which is obviously they were going to church, ZCC, and unfortunately the bus actually fell off a bridge. And you know, when that happened, they were already in South Africa, and unfortunately 45 people actually passed away. 45. If I'm not mistaken, there was one survivor who is a child. I think she's maybe maybe 8, between the age of 8 and like 14, somewhere there, but she's still very young, and she's the sole survivor of the whole entire bus. A family, from what we hear, also passed in there. So at this point, it was like, you know, there are people who maybe they say they're traveling to Moria, they will travel as a group, obviously, as they did. But the other thing again is that some actually travel as a family. So you were finding that with some families, it's literally everyone, obviously, because there's only one sole survivor, right? And so it was something that was very, very tragic. In the way that I actually saw, it does seem like, you know, there were certain people, because I did hear the Minister of Health, you know, that was actually saying that, you know, Dr. Poppy, who I'm sure some of you guys will know, she was basically saying that there are certain people that are recognizable and others are not, you know. And it's quite a sad situation, I won't even lie. 45 people to pass, that's almost 50 people. That's almost half 100 people that passed actually going to the ZCC. So I think that maybe with the identifications and stuff, that's what took a bit longer. But all those cops were, you know, flown back to Botswana, and they have finally been laid to rest. So what happened is that they actually had a mass funeral. You know, we did have the Minister of Health, which is Dr. Poppy. She was there. I will not lie to you guys, I feel like Dr. Poppy, if only she could, man, she would just go ahead and take over all these departments. Like, that woman excels at her job. Like, you cannot tell me anything about Dr. Poppy, okay? Like, they can never make me hate her, you know? But she really is so good. I think she should actually just be the Minister of Health and Police. Like, literally, they should give her a double barrel or double whatever, because we all know the Minister of Police is failing. But anyway, let's not even be there. But anyway, yeah, amongst some of the people that were there, it was also Makadzi. I did see some people posting pictures of my cousin. She was wearing black. It does seem like she was actually there for the funeral. It was quite such a sad situation. I'm sure I'm going to also have some pictures actually here. You could see that, yeah, the families were definitely distraught. I just can't even imagine for those families who maybe, you know, their loved ones were not even recognizable. So which means that they never got to say their final, you know, goodbye. Now, obviously, these pictures coming out and just seeing so many families, you know, going through the most. There were people that actually now started to ask, like, why can't we see the leaders of ZCC, you know, photographed, you know, like in the funeral, like especially the leader himself, right? And yes, that has been causing a bit of controversy on the internet. And I personally would like to say that people that are actually questioning this, they are not being dramatic. They are not seeking attention. I think it is a very much valid question. There are some people that are saying, well, do you know if he attended or not? What if he attended in private? And I'm like, at this point, I don't think that the church itself can even afford privacy. In all honesty, I if I'm a church member, and something like this happens, I would really want to see the leaders there. This is almost 50 people. This is hundreds, thousands of people that lost their loved ones at the same time and in a bus that was going to church. And I think with some of the answers that I have seen from maybe some members of the ZCC, oh, were they going to him or were they going to church? Yeah, they were going to church, but he's the leader of the church. The same way that whatever money that they actually had that they were going to give there in that church was going to go to the leader. So you lot coming out and now starting to say, well, were they going to him or no? Where is the money going? Okay, have you ever seen a dove holding a offering basket flying you to heaven? The receiver of the money should have gone there. That's all I'm saying. So, and publicly so, that's what I'm going to say, publicly so. So there are some people that are like, well, he must be doing things behind the scenes. Those behind the scenes, we don't see them. I've never seen any family from Botswana that actually comes out and stands out and say that, well, they were giving money or, they were giving some sort of support. I've not seen it. I'm not saying that maybe they should be getting money. I'm not saying that. I personally just feel like, obviously, if something like this happens, I would assume ZCC... Kenya is very rich, eh? ZCC is a rich church. I would obviously think, okay, the church would actually say, okay, I know you've lost your loved ones. We should bury them for you. We should lay them to rest. I wished I had actually seen the leaders of the church there. You understand? At this point, I feel like if let's say 5 people passed, okay, sharp, the leaders should be there. 10 people, the leaders should be 45. The owner of the church should be there. Personally, that's, what I see. I feel like he can afford bodyguards as many as he wants, but I feel like he should have definitely been there to also just show support to the family. And I think that this is one of those reasons wherein, I used to go to church for a long time, and there's a lot of stuff that would happen, that you would actually see, and it's almost like these church leaders are very selfish, in my personal opinion. Most of them, anyway, these days, right? This is not just directed to the leaders of ZCC anymore. A lot of church leaders now, they're very, very selfish. They're self-serving. They want the money for themselves. They don't care about anything else anymore, but the money that actually comes in. And that is why I feel like, as a church member, you can go to church hungry and you go back home starving and you don't have food to eat at home. I've literally gone through situations that were actually like that, the time that things were still very, very tough. You understand? What the Bible actually says should be done with the monies that actually go to church, it's no longer what is being done. There are some people that are going to be out here and they're acting this church, this is what they do, blah, blah, blah. We do get that, that sometimes they will do it for clout, but how many churches, guys, do you know that actually have groups of kids that they are orphans, that they're fully taking care of them? They make sure that they dress, they eat, they stay somewhere safe, and they even go to school. They make sure that they support them with that money. They don't do that. What they want to do is buy the Mercedes-Benz, the private jets and because most of the churches now, they're definitely serving. It's no longer about serving God. It's no longer about the gospel, honestly. And I do believe that literally we're in the end times, because seeing things like this, that the Bible that has been here for decades and decades and decades, generations literally, and those things are actually happening now, that's when you actually see that, yeah, definitely the end is very much near. Now, I feel that this whole situation that happened here with the bus, it's such a sad situation, guys. And I do remember growing up, my father used to say, no, we cannot travel as a family, and I used to look at him and I'm like, why? I used to think that, but maybe this old man was onto something, definitely, because his reason would be, if anything was to happen, then the whole family is gone. So he always made sure that we used separate cars, and thank God that none of the cars ever had anything that happened, but like group or mass traveling, like wherein they used to have like a bus and they need to be different families, and maybe they're going to Durban or Cape Town from Venda, which is a very long trip. I think we did that once when we were very young, and then after that he was like, nope, I'm no longer doing this, because if anything happens to this bus, then the whole family is gone, So yeah, things like that. So I think that maybe that can be one of those that you can also take. But at the end of the day, I think that also is just, I guess it's different. Like if it's a private car, I feel like maybe it's different in a way. The driver the driver you trust. But when it's a bus, we literally don't know that person. That person can literally be high on drugs, and you wouldn't even know. You're just entering. So private public transportation is not always the safest. But I feel like with this situation, I do personally feel like it would have been so human had it been that we had actually seen pictures of the leaders of ZCC there, like especially like Lekanyane himself. Like it would have been a big thing. I know that he's not someone that is like photographed or stuff like that. Maybe they could have found a way to cover his face if he doesn't want his face to be seen or something. But in all honesty, I just feel like private support in this situation would not be the best. I feel like their support should have definitely been public, and everybody should have been able to see that at least the ZCC is with the people of Botswana, because thousands and thousands of people lost one relative or another in that 45 people death bus to Moria. There's some people that are talking about certain things like, oh, was this like, I don't want to get sued. But I'm just like, I don't know. I literally honestly do not know. We can never know. But yeah, I know that during COVID, all this was not happening, So when you guys are going to like a place where, especially like if you're someone that goes to Limpopo and like when it's time for them to go to Moria, you don't even go on that road. Like you just, if you know what's good for you, got a Good Friday, you just sit home, okay? Because the amount of traffic that will be on the road, there are people that are in buses, taxis, like literal private cars. That place gets very, very full. And that is when so many accidents would actually be happening. For this past few years, it has been quiet because obviously it was closed. But now that they open, literally a whole 45 people die. It really honestly is something that is very sad. But anyway, do go ahead and comment down below what you guys think. Do you think that the people that are actually giving ZCC backlash of that the leaders were not publicly there and photographed or like showing support in that public way, because we do not know if they showed up or not. We do not know if they showed up privately, but people are going to talk about what they see publicly, obviously. Do you think that people are overreacting, or people do have a right to just say, wait a minute, why were you not here when these people were coming to you and to give you shmanish, okay? Because you can't tell me that a whole 45 of those people did not have shmani to give there. So be very careful, Shibubu. Be very, very careful. Anyway, my ninjas, from Owamie, it was alright. I love you guys. Stay blessed. I feel like I've forgotten how to blog a bit. I'm still like trying to get back into my field, guys. I don't like this lump that I've been going through. But anyway, we're still going to talk. I love you, ninjas. Stay blessed. And I will see you guys in my next upload. Bye, ninjas.